All right, let's jump into things. Where we are, a little bit later this morning, 11:46, the 19th of February. So, look, thinking where to sort of start off, and I think metals is a great place because we've seen gold rip back up the top of this potential range that we're looking for. So, as I said over the weekend and also yesterday was actually a monster day, and yeah, I did miss the topside move on this one, but that's all right. But as I was saying, sort of on the weekend and also yesterday in the video, I said this is a crucial point. Is 29.10 kind of level through here. As we can see, the market sort of held it resistance, even back here. If we drag this through, whoop, drag through here, it has a little bit more significance over here as well. Oops, just here. So you can see a number of times of that. Resistance, 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 broke through, its support. It's kind of almost got in there where we encountered so much at this point here, but it fluffed around here, the sort of 10 to 15 area a little bit yesterday, and then obviously bang, just through Europe, and that just sort of took off and went to the top side over here. So what I was saying over the weekend, the plan was, even though I didn't enact it, it's still the plan, that if we did get above 29.10, there was an idea that it would run up to the top side over here. I, of course, was sort of looking for this to sort of reject, hold, and then sort of come down here with a break of this 28.80 level for the idea that then we would, potentially sort of have a double top, moving down over here. Okay, so back up to the top side of the range, we're seeing it sort of come in. Sellers are stepping in on Q. It's still a little bit early where we are, 11:48. So, a little bit of volume coming in, probably in the next 45 minutes or so. So I was trying to keep this a little bit sweet, short and sweet, because we might sort of start to get a little bit of volume in. So again, look, you got to sort of just repeat the process. And now we've got sellers here, we've got sellers here, and we've got sellers here. Two things to take away from this. One, if we break this level over here, you've got these wicks to worry about over here. So obviously sort of like a close up here is going to confirm it a little bit more, but then you're looking for a move up to the top side over here. Alternatively, we are looking at potentially, a continuation of the range. So with these ranges as well, as I keep sort of saying, there's generally like, you've got, it's not just high and low of the range. You generally have a bar that'll sort of mix right through the middle here. As you can see, that 29.10 level that we were just talking about. This will be sort of like, time in the top half, time in the bottom half. More time spent in either of the halves is going to sort of obviously sort of make things obviously a little bit more inclined to break that direction. Of course, you can't break out to the top unless you're in the top half. But the point being is, if this does come off from here, if we do see the sellers try and push this down as they have each time, these have been quite violent sort of sell downs, particularly this last one here on Friday night. Though there was a long weekend in the US, and it was funny because I was saying to a mate that like I missed this move down here, but I was saying to him that potentially what they're doing is just trying to run people's stops and positions coming into the long weekend, because sort of like, people aren't sort of going to be at the desks to sort of combat the moves. You need people sort of like both sides of the trade happening. And I was like, I'll put a little tinfoil hat on, and yeah, looks like it could have been that case kind of thing. Just whip them out and then rip it back up the top over here. So I think sort of pretty much this is on a 4 hour here underneath 27. You might sort of see this thing sort of fold over a little bit and come back down. I did actually have this slightly coming in through here as well. Let's change the color on this one. Oops. Make it a blue, maybe make it a little thicker. So we are seeing lower high, and technically a third lower high here, but look, it's not like a major level that I would be sort of working off kind of thing. So downside, underneath 27, you may see something at 21. It didn't really, I've got this level through here, but this may have been a lower time frame, and it's kind of had some sort of significance, so maybe something around this level over here, at least 21, to try and rally off here. If 21 goes, then back down to that 2915, 2910 level. So I think this would be the area where we would see a bit of action should we get a move to the downside. So put some buys down here. So the idea with this one would be that obviously sort of like, failed breakout third time. Okay, people jump off expecting a big move down like this. You come down, you shake out a few, drag in some shorts. You've got this rising support, which we sort of said it had just actually held. So one, two, three, and obviously into the weekend was the fourth, and getting close here before it sort of springboarded up. Four touches on there. So this is going to be interesting should it come down here. Like, you know what I mean? As I said, it's not guaranteed. This could just obviously just get a bit of volume flip and just we could get the breakout to the top side. So we've got the alert set if we do go out the top of this range. Though if we do get a pullback down to this area, as I said, I still think this 29.10, 29.15 area will play some significant role. Um, and this could be an area to get a springboard. And if we get a rally off this, if we get down here, grab some liquidity, get a rally off here, that's coming back. Because again, you look at how deep the market sold down, how deep the market sold down, how deep the market sold down. If we can only sort of get it down to this level, and then buyers have already gone from here to here to here, well, that means that there's a good chance that you see a bit of this ascending triangle and we could see a very big breakout after that. So it depends whether they sort of bring it back down here first and then go, or if this is enough to just reload it twice and bang, they move out to the top side. So potentially what you could be looking at for a break of this range will be out here, which puts you very close to that 3,000 club. So look, as I said, I've been a big advocate for the 3,000 club for a while. I do think that it will get hit. It's just a question, do they recharge it now and then go with it, or do they sort of just sort of bring it down, flip it, and then move up to the top side? So yeah, it'd be interesting to sort of see where they go from here. There was some sort of news. I'll have to look closer into it or something, but about them. I don't know if they're actually doing an audit or if that was just a headline of the thing to sort of drag some people in. But the idea of potentially the gold stores at Fort Knox not being what they thought they were. Um, so obviously, sort of like if that were to be the case, I don't know if they're actually doing an audit or if people are just speculating, talking. But if that were to play out and there were to be some sort of confirmation that there was less than they thought there was, you would see that as a catalyst to move up because again, that whole idea of sort of like the demand's still here. Like obviously, that's pushing the market this way. Every time you sort of read a bit of news, it's about different central banks around the world are sort of like, trying to sort of diversify away from things and buy more gold and all this kind of stuff. If all of a sudden the demand's still there, but then the supply gets cut, as in, everybody's fighting for 10 apples, actually turns out there's only 6 apples, well, everybody's going to pay a little bit more for those to get a piece of the pie, apple pie, whatever. But the point is that, yeah, if that were to be the case, I think you could see that as a catalyst to see gold rocket. Um, I don't know if this is something really that's happening or popping along. I'll have to look into it a little bit more. It's just something worth noting for gold market there. So yes, onto silver. So silver yesterday, sort of, I caught this trade down here, and I sort of like banked a bit down here, and I was just like, oh geez, I should hold these things. You can see on a larger time frame here that this level through here is definitely where the buyers are. Just could not get down below this sort of, if you call this a swing low, or if this is just sort of like a more horizontal support. But I was saying what you need above here is a 4-hour close. This is a 4-hour chart here. As you can see, sellers were here, sellers are here, sellers are here, sellers are here, sellers. They even tried to hold it one more time, but as soon as you got that 4-hour close above this zone, little back test, and bang, they shot that right off. So it is coming into a smaller little area just here for now. I don't think this is super significant. It could see a little bit of a rollover. We'll see how we go. There's just a little zone through here. Similar with gold, just in the sense of sort of like, it's moving up. If we see all the metals sort of roll over a little bit, you might sort of see this come back down a little bit more as well. Downside, 2250s. You'd want it to hold this as a back test, reload, and then continue to sort of move up. In terms of how far it came down from this, so we're seeing it sort of This is down. Yep. Get rid of this. Yep. We're seeing it obviously just up around that 61%. I think probably more of this little range here is what's actually holding it in place, just underneath the big 33 number. So again, look, if we push up through here, you're probably looking to go up and test those 33.30 highs. It does look like the candle's getting a little bit thin around here, so I think downside underneath 77, 32.77, you might see a little bit of a cooling back towards that sort of 32.50 breakout level because this is obviously, like I said the other week, if you look at these breakouts, this one here, deeper, deeper, breakout, retest. Retest came lower than that breakout point. This is similar, deeper, deeper, breakout, retest came deeper than that breakout point, and then bang, on its way again. So look, it's certainly playing this sort of card. Look, let's get rid of these ones because we're not looking for so much downside there now. Yeah, so certainly backtest deeper. It's following the same sort of price structure that we've seen with a couple of these other breakout points. Where are these other ones gone? I mean, this is a much, much larger one here, but and the retest. I wouldn't really call this one here because this one just went, and when it did come for a retest, it didn't continue. It just went into this long sort of downtrend here. But just goes to show that, as you can see here, deeper, 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 break and retest, it does actually sort of follow that kind of route and then sort of keep on moving on. So back through that breakout point. So yeah, I think sort of 33.40 for a topside move. Through 33, I think you could see a bit of a move. But yeah, 33.30 is up into that major sort of breakout zone just for now as well. I think that'll be a little bit more significant. Flip along. So we go to Aussies. So Aussies, wow, yeah, yesterday it really played very well actually. Look, I was shorting through this period here. I got long through this period here, and then I just left it alone really. So I'm sort of chilled out on Aussie at the moment. I'd still like to see some of this stuff happen. I'd like to get long from a lower level down here. Oops. Lower sort of 63s. We'll see how we go with it all. DXY grinding a little bit higher. So again, Aussie's not part of the DXY as we know. So, but it is uh, sort of a sort of broad-based indicator of sort of how the market's reacting with US dollar. Just bear with us one sec. All right, and back to watching that 12 o'clock volume come in. Everything sort of jump around a bit. Yeah, so look, I think sort of obviously we had the cut yesterday. Look, it found resistance prior to it on the Monday night, exactly where it should have. Sold into the thing, a little bit of sort of stuffing around. I think the market pretty much as you can see here, it's just sort of digesting it. I do think it is going to be sort of moving up higher. I'd like to buy it from a lower level. I don't want to buy at the top of this sort of thing here. I might miss the boat, but yeah, that's the price you're sort of going to pay with this sort of thing. I think DXY could potentially squeeze a little bit more, so you could sort of see a little bit more of a US dollar buying, but I don't want to, and hence I don't want to short this at this stage. I'd just like to look for some longs back at these two levels here or here. They're the two levels that I'm kind of interested in. If you get much below here, not really so much interested because it becomes just a bit more of a stuff around and that with it all. But I do think that there's potential to get probably a little bit of a better level than we are seeing right now. As you can see, we're just opening up. This is on the this is on the 1 hour. That was a 4 hour through this zone here. So if these buyers aren't sort of sitting in this zone here, this might be a little bit, it just looks a bit rounded top, dribble, dribble, dribble kind of thing coming down here. You can see the sellers kind of moving down on a bit of an angle here. Look, get back above, I'd probably want to say above here, but then you run into this whole level over here as well. So, between 70 and 40, 30-point sort of range, it's just a bit choppy. You know what I mean? I think underneath here, again, I'm only looking for buys at this stage. So I think I'll just sort of be holding fire on this. I did quite well sort of through this whole period and obviously yesterday trading both sides of it, which is actually very good because sort of like I shorted right down here. I think I got out at like sort of 40, 41 or so. And then sort of I got longs, and then I sort of took the little wins and that, and then I sort of had a long position just coming into it, and then I had orders that just got filled down just underneath, which was pretty good. It was nice to sort of get that fill. So yeah, I think sort of for the time being, I might just sort of be holding fire on Aussie a little bit to sort of see how things sort of progress a little bit more. Flip it along. So we've got DXY. I don't think we've covered DXY. As we can see, it is slowly grinding up through here. So this is the general plan still up into this area, which we're moving up towards now. This is the plan for the weekend that we might see a little bit of this. It is negating this top side a little bit here. So I guess maybe we could update it a little bit here and sort of say something to this effect. And maybe we look at 107.17, which got a little bit more upside to go there. And we can update this just a touch and say that maybe that's a bit more of the angles for us to be playing for. Certainly, I think sort of through this kind of area will signal a bit more of the downside move. Hence, sort of like, as I said, I do believe we are still sort of heading down here towards this price target. This is why I don't want to short Aussie in this sort of market at this time. I do believe once we get down here, we may see a little bit more sustained buying from the US dollar. But of course, we got down before we get to that point where we can flip and then start to be looking long again on that. All right, and copper, yeah, sort of hit in, dribble, dribble, dribble. Look, it is still sitting right up near the top. As you can see here, this is the 38%. It's trying to hold here. You could see a little move up, maybe a right shoulder build through here if it is to come down a little bit further. But at the moment, I think really people are just sort of chilling on this one because, yeah, as I said, if you look at this, it's come 15% in a matter of weeks. A little bit of cooling, definitely. This is looking a little bit head and shoulders-y sort of like thing. So you could see a little bit of a push up here, particularly if we see the other metals break out. This could give a little bit of a rally here, depending on how much they're going to hold that as well. For the time being, though, it feels a little bit flat. Like, try to go in here, try to hold it, close down, try to hold it, close down. I'm just sort of thinking whether this is the little canary of the metal market. So if we see this start to break a little bit further, is that going to put pressure on gold and silver? Look, they serve different purposes. This is more of a manufacturing metal and that. Certainly, while US dollar is sort of like slightly ticking up a bit, this is what's going to put pressure on copper for the top side moves just for now. So we'll see how this one sort of eventuates. But again, I wouldn't mind sort of getting long, but I would probably be looking, I reckon, around this 44, around this kind of retest down over here. This is where I'd like to buy. What was I just down in here? One sec. Yep, and excuse me. So yeah, I think sort of definitely it's got something in it. I mean, something caused this massive run through here. Um, a little bit of a cooling off, better risk reward from this kind of area down here to sort of then target a move to potentially be coming back up to this top side over here. I just think it's a bit wish-washy at the moment. A lot of profit on the table, still at 38%. Look, if it takes off and sort of gets back above 475, fine, miss the boat, and maybe it's going back up to the top over here as this kind of one would be planning out. But I think that potentially we could see a little bit more cooling and then sort of push up to the top side over here. And finally, just tick across with China. China really sort of just, again, bouncing back into gear. It's not really doing much. I mean, we had the big break up and then we break down, retest, break down, boom, boom. I think this is obviously sort of shoring up where we've got the buys. We do have a higher sort of buy zone price target underneath here. Got very close to it and then share away. So this is the thing. You need to very much sort of like use these things pretty much as a sort of close enough is good enough. Because as you can see, sort of this got within, what's this? Within 0.06%, and then obviously shot back up over there. So, there's no point sort of being too sort of stringent with all your sort of rules with it all. But look, it is ticking along. Look, we've got a little bit of a zone that sort of seems to be forming through here. So I think this is the thing, this is the one to sort of work with at the moment. As long as this is sort of kind of grinding a little bit higher, it'll put pressure on Aussie, it'll put pressure on copper. It doesn't really seem to be having so much of an effect on the gold market and that at the moment. Typically, the one can affect the gold, either directly or indirectly. but it is not seeming to really sort of do too much at the moment. Obviously, gold's on a rip. Gold just hit new highs. Oh, sorry, it didn't hit new highs. Back up towards, gotta say it's correct. Back up towards testing new highs. And as you can see, this is kind of through this period here. I suppose you could say Monday, Friday, it was putting a little bit of pressure on it, but not enough to really sort of say that it's affecting it too much at the moment. I think, look, above 728, I mean, you got another little zone through here. So I wouldn't be expecting anything major till you get above 732 or really till you break below 722. I think it's quite a big range through here. We're looking at something like this, but I think for now it's just going to be choppy, choppy, choppy. If we get up over here, I imagine the sellers to come back down, and obviously, you need to get through that, not only just these more recent lows, but this will be the major low to sort of see for the breakout. So nothing really major to take away there just for now. All right, a bit of a quicker one today, sort of flying through. Where we at news-wise? So we got a bit of wage data, a little bit weaker for Aussie out this morning. We had a revised up from 8 to 9 last time, so I was looking to come in at 8 anyway. So looking to hold flat, came in a little bit less than. Hasn't really affected Aussie too much at all. I mean, as I said, saw Aussie looks like it's kind of sort of snoozing, rolling over a little bit. We did see the cut with New Zealand, so this is why we had all that volume sort of pumping through before potentially. Not that the market broadly sort of cares about these things too much, but a 50 base point cut is a big cut. So I imagine let's see how it reacted, because we've seen a lot of these things recently where they've cut and they've actually sort of moved up a bit more. No, well, cut and it shot up. Let's have a look on it lower. There you go. So like cut 50 base point, come up here, take out all your stops, all your stops, all your stops, all your stops, all the way back here, and then bang, smack down. But, all in all, what's it dropped? It's come down 20 points. For a 50 base point cut, that's not much. So yeah, it's very interesting how these cuts are sort of affecting the market, because again, go back 6 months or so, some of these cuts would have absolutely obliterated some of these things down 100 plus points and that, but 20 points off a 50 base point cut, not too bad in the scheme of things, and you can see it's very much still right up off its lows from over there. Interesting. Gold silver ratio, really kind of not doing much. It's just floating around here. We tested these lows, obviously. That was on Friday, and now it's bounced up and again just sort of rolling along. We are seeing lower highs coming in through this area over here as it dribbles back down. So it is obviously moving in this slow direction, but it's not going down without a fight. All in all, it's really just sideways. We know where the buyers are. We know where the sellers are, and really you're just sort of sitting just in the middle here at the moment. So we'll see how things go. Silver's having a little bit of a sort of push off the highs, just as we speak. Obviously, as this thing moves up, that's going to be a little bit sort of weaker for silver. All right, that's it from me.